all eyes are now on the border crisis as control of Congress remains up for grabs. Charlie just mentioned that. Former acting ICE Director and Heritage Foundation visiting fellow Tom Homan joins me now. So, Tom, how do you expect the outcome of the elections to impact immigration policy and, more importantly, the border?
Well, I'm disappointed. I don't think it's going to affect it as much as if there would have been a red wave, correct? But if we take if the Republicans take the House, they will have power of the purse, right? And that's about the only thing they got, because President Biden still has the power of the executive pen. He can make executive decisions. But if the House Republicans control the budget, then they can hold the administration responsible for what's happening on the border. For instance, they can say, look, you need to take some sort of steps to secure this border. Show us one thing you're doing to slow the flow, or we'll shut it down. And people have been saying to me in last week, was that's a pretty drastic move to shut the government down. So what I say to them is, okay, what does it take? We got over 100,000 Americans that have died from fentanyl that comes across that open border. We have over 1,400 dead migrants on U.S. soil since he took the office, right? And we got a record number of illegal immigrants coming across the country. We already had 4 million entries since he took office. And when that happens, you overwhelm the Border Patrol. 80% are no longer on the line to processing these groups, which means that fentanyl comes across, the criminals come across, and known suspected terrorists come across. They've arrested 114 known suspected terrorists sneaking in this country. How many of the 1 million gotaways are known suspected terrorists? So what does it take to threaten to shut the government down? I think we're there.
Where should the funding go then, Tom, if they're going to get more money at the border from a Republican-controlled House of Representatives? Where should the money go?
To ICE, Immigration Customs Enforcement. Okay. Look, there are over 20 million illegal aliens in this country. The hundreds of thousands that enter the country just this past year, 88.7% of them have lost their hearing. They've been order removed. ICE needs to go find them and remove them. You can't demand, the Democrats demand, they got the right for due process. They got the right to claim asylum. I agree. But you got to support the system the entire way through. If you give them due process, they have a hearing or don't show up at a hearing and get order removed, you must execute those orders of removals or the process means nothing. Shut the immigration courts down. If an immigration judge's order doesn't mean anything, then shut them down too. We have to follow through with the process. So give ICE the money, have more detention beds, have more agents to make sure those orders removed through due process are removed. And that will send a strong message to these countries. If you lose your case, you're going home.
Okay, real quick before you go, Tom, switching gears, there's been some political rhetoric here in New York about these migrant buses that Governor Abbott has been sending up to New York City. That, oh, now that the midterms are over, no more migrant buses. What do you make of that?
Actually, Governor Abbott is going to be sending more migrant buses. I think it's a good idea. I think that calls Democratic governors and major city mayors to speak out about the issue, which put it back on the front page. Look, the administration has bused 1.7 million since Biden's been in office. So these governors, whether it's DeSantis or Abbott, they've a few thousand, but that doesn't compare to 1.7 the Biden administration has done. So I think it's a good move. They need to keep doing it.
And it sounds to me again, and you mentioned this earlier, but real quick follow-up, that you're disappointed that you don't think the border is going to be more of an issue over the next 2 years. I mean, we've got from now until 2024 when we've got a presidential election. Wouldn't it be smart on the part of Republicans to continue to bring up the southern border in a bid to maybe see Joe Biden not get a second term?
Oh, absolutely. That's not what I meant. No, they're not going to shut me up. And they better not shut up the GOP about this border crisis. It's historic. My point was, how much power do they have to change things? As long as Joe Biden has the power of the executive pen, you know, he's going to make foolish decisions to continue this open border strategy. But we should not shut up. This is the only network talking about it, thank God. And that's why most Americans don't even realize there's a border crisis, because they're watching other networks. No, we need to keep the heat on and keep pushing, because this will be a major issue in 2024. Absolutely.
And we will have you back very soon. Tom Homan, it's always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you, Tom.